Kamala Harris is the 49th Vice President of the United States in the Democratic administration of Pres. Joe Biden. She was the first woman, the first Black American, and the first Asian American to hold the post. She had previously served in the U.S. Senate and as Attorney General of California. In July 2024, following his poor performance in a nationally televised debate with Republican candidate and former President Donald Trump, Biden abandoned his bid for re-election and endorsed Harris as the Democratic Party's nominee in the presidential election of 2024. Early life and education. Harris' father, who was Jamaican, taught at Stanford University, and her mother, the daughter of an Indian diplomat, was a cancer researcher. While growing up, Harris maintained close contact with her Indian family and frequently traveled with her mother and sister to Chennai, the capital of the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Her younger sister, Maya, eventually became a public policy advocate. After studying political science and economics at Howard University, Harris earned a law degree from the University of California College of the Law, San Francisco. Attorney General Harris subsequently worked as a deputy district attorney in Oakland, earning a reputation for toughness as she prosecuted cases of gang violence, drug trafficking, and sexual abuse. She rose through the ranks, becoming district attorney in 2000. In 2010 she was narrowly elected Attorney General of California, owning by a margin of less than 1%, this becoming the first female and the first African American to hold the post. After taking office the following year, she demonstrated political independence, rejecting, for example, pressure from the administration of Pres. Barack Obama for her to settle a nationwide lawsuit against mortgage lenders for unfair practices. Instead, she has California's case and in 2012 won a judgment 5 times higher than that originally offered. Her refusal to defend Proposition 8, which banned same-sex marriage in the state, helped lead to it being overturned in 2013. Harris' book, Smart on Crime, was considered a model for dealing with the problem of criminal recidivism. A rising national star. Kamala Harris' path to the U.S. Vice Presidency. Kamala Harris' path to the U.S. Vice Presidency. Learn more about U.S. Vice Pres. Kamala Harris. See all videos for this article. In 2012, Harris delivered a memorable address at the Democratic National Convention, raising her national profile. 2 years later, she married attorney Douglas Emhoff. Widely considered a rising star within the party, she was recruited to run for the U.S. Senate seat held by Barbara Boxer, who was retiring. In early 2015, Harris declared her candidacy. And on the campaign trail she called for immigration and criminal justice reform, an increase in the minimum wage, and protection of women's reproductive rights. She easily won the 2016 election. When she took office in January 2017, Harris became the first Indian American and only the second Black American woman in the Senate. She began serving on both the Select Committee on Intelligence and the Judiciary Committee, among other assignments. She became known for her prosecutorial style of addressing witnesses during hearings, which provoked criticism and occasional interruptions from Republican senators. In June, she drew particular attention for her questioning of U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who was testifying before the Intelligence Committee on alleged Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. She had earlier called on him to resign. Harris' memoir, The Truths We Hold: An American Journey, was published in January 2019. Shortly thereafter, Harris announced that she was seeking the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. From the outset, she was seen as one of the leading contenders, and she drew particular attention when, during a primary debate, she had a contentious exchange with fellow candidate Joe Biden over his opposition to school busing in the 1970s and 80s, among other race-related topics. Although Harris' support initially increased, By September 2019, her campaign was in serious trouble, and in December she dropped out of the race. She continued to maintain a high profile, notably becoming a leading advocate for social justice reform following the May 2020 death of George Floyd, an African American who had been in police custody. Her efforts silenced some who had criticized her tenure as Attorney General, alleging that she had failed to investigate charges of police misconduct, including questionable shootings. Others, however, felt that her embrace of reform was a political maneuver to capitalize on increasing public support for social change. Get a Britannica Premium subscription and gain access to exclusive content. Subscribe now. As racial injustice became a major issue in the United States, many Democrats called on Biden, the party's presumptive nominee, to select an African American woman, a demographic that was seen as pivotal to his election chances as his vice presidential running mate. In August, Biden chose Harris, and she thus became the first black woman to appear on a major party's national ticket. In November, she became the first black woman to be elected Vice President of the United States, a historic swearing in, Kamala Harris being sworn in as U.S. Vice President, as her husband Doug M. Hoff and Joe Biden look on. Washington. C. January 20, 2021. In the ensuing weeks, Trump and various other Republicans challenged the election results, claiming voter fraud. Although a number of lawsuits were filed, no evidence was provided to support the allegations, and the vast majority of the cases were dismissed. During this time, Harris and Biden began the transition to a new administration, announcing an agenda and selecting staff. By early December, all states had certified the election results, and the process then moved to Congress for final certification. Amid Trump's repeated calls for Republicans to overturn the election, a group of Congress members, notably including Senators Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, announced that they would challenge the electors of various states. Shortly after the proceedings began on January 6, 2021, a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. It took several hours to secure the building, but Biden and Harris were eventually certified as the winners. She later denounced the siege, which many believed was incited by Trump as an assault on America's democracy. On January 18, she officially resigned from the Senate. 2 days later, amid an incredible security presence, Harris was sworn in as Vice President. Role as Vice President in the Oval Office. Vice Pres. Kamala Harris shares a laugh with Pres. Joe Biden in the Oval Office. In January 2023, as Biden's Vice President, Harris was tasked with addressing the root causes of increased migration from Latin America to the U.S. southern border, promoting national legislation to protect voting rights, and preserving women's access to abortion, which was significantly limited in many states following the 2022 Supreme Court ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. Harris became a vocal and effective advocate for the right to complete reproductive health care, including abortion. She continued that theme as part of Biden's 2024 campaign, in which she frequently warned that re-electing Trump would further limit access to abortion care. As President of the Senate, Harris cast the most tie-breaking votes in history, shattering a nearly 200-year-old record. When Biden dropped out of the 2024 race and announced his support for Harris, she responded by saying, "On behalf of the American people, I thank Joe Biden for his extraordinary leadership as President of the United States and for his decades of service to our country. I am honored to have the President's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination."